in general, the industry has probably been the fastest moving industry in the world. A lot of people have got on the bandwagon in the last few years. Places like Chile have had phenomenal success in the last few years. But Australia's really been at the forefront of that improvement, and Wolf Blass the man and Wolf Blass the business has actually been one of the real leaders in that. Blass the man was really quite ingenious in the way he set the business up and really revolutionised red wine in Australia. Now, he'd tell you that was really intelligent. I'd say it was a reasonable amount of luck. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time with the style that people actually like drinking, which in the essence is really what wine's all about. Obviously, as people become more familiar with wine and drink more wine, and particularly I think as a new generation comes on where mum and dad used to drink wine and then the kids get to drinking age. But once you get wine as part of your culture, you start looking for regionality and you're looking for variety. And the success of Wolf Blass in the early days was that he demystified wine and made it that you didn't have to know about variety and you didn't have to know about region. All you had to know was, hell, I like it, I'll drink more of it. But in the modern world, people are looking for both types. People are looking for wines that are not complicated, that you can just buy a bottle of Yellow Label and it's a bottle of Yellow Label. But there are also people that want to, you know, the hobbyists. They're the people that really want to get knowledge and really want to get information, and they're looking for difference, and that's what the Gold Label range is all about, is matching variety and region and finding within our portfolio where individual varieties do the best. So we've got things like Adelaide Hills Chardonnay, which is the second wine. We've got a Coonawarra Cabernet. We've got a Barossa Shiraz. So it's really giving another element to what we provide to the consumer, which is more interest. We're based in South Australia, and that's primarily why we've focused on South Australian regions. This year we'll be taking some Chardonnay out of Margaret River to make into wine. Where that will end up, I'm not quite sure. There's no brand for that yet, but I can guarantee if it's a Rip Snorter, it will be under a Wolf Blass brand and we'll say it's from Margaret River. So there is no directive within the company that Wolf Blass should be South Australian. It's just historically we have been South Australian, but hell, we're all about making premium wine, and if we can get premium fruit from anywhere, we will grab it and use it for sure. We're looking at new vintages, but in principle, the Yellow Labels, all the wines under Yellow Label are no different than the ones that used to be Green Label and all the different colours. So it's just putting them under tiers and giving a familiar look to all the wines at the same price point. So the wines haven't changed. So the new Grey Label Shiraz is exactly the same as the 2000 vintage Brown Label would have been. So we haven't changed the wine at all. It's still exactly the same, made the same way, everything's the same about it. I've always said that to me it's probably the best value for money wine in the portfolio. It's made exactly the same as Black Label, and in essence it's the second pick of Black Label. So the best barrels go into Black Label, and then Grey Label is a split off the Cabernet into the Grey Label Cabernet and the Shiraz into the Grey Label Shiraz. I guess there are two tracks that you can take on winemaking. One is to look at the expression of the vineyard and the vineyard only. So you're looking to maximise off one vineyard the characteristics that are represented by that vineyard. The other approach is about make the best possible wine you can. Black Label is made as the best possible wine we can make. Platinum is more an expression of the vineyard, where something like Black Label is about a taste sensation. It's really what I call a stylised wine. It's about this tastes like Black Label. And even though it's based around Cabernet, and each year the Cabernet is the biggest percentage, this one's only just over 50% Cabernet. The 98 that won the 99 Watson was nearly 100% Cabernet. So it varies enormously. In essence, when the wine's put together, it's looking at all the wines on the blind and on the bench and picking out the best wines and getting those to fit together. And they don't always fit together. The best wines don't always fit together to make the best wine. So it's really a matter of mixing and matching, and that takes time. People talk about blending being a dirty word. And certainly Wolf Blass the man got a lot of criticism when he first started out that he was so-called blending wine. Blending, every single wine is blended, whether you like it or not. We blend different oak types. We'll ferment some of the fruit slightly warmer, some slightly colder. Colder you get more fruit character, warmer you get more extract. So it's really the winemaking skill is to make, even off the same vineyard, make a lot of different componentry that has slightly different elements to it. Every single barrel is different. So you put the same wine in 20 different barrels and you get maybe 5 or 10 different wines out of that. They're only marginal differences, but they are different. The element of a good winemaker is being able to match the things together to make, not the perfect wine, because no one makes perfect wine, it's impossible, but to make the absolute best that you can out of the resources that you've got. The marketing team came up with the platinum packaging and all the rest of it, and I think they did a great job. I think the whole thing has worked out extremely well. But it really did come from the vineyard, and that's really what we're trying to do as a product, is have it to express the best vineyard wine that we can make from the year. And we've selected out the Barossa Valley, Eden Valley and Adelaide Hills as 3 regions that we think we can produce the best Shiraz that we can. Now that's not to say, and related to the question earlier, that there aren't other areas that produce exceptionally good Shiraz as well. I think it'll come down to 2 regions, Adelaide Hills and Eden Valley, and not so much Barossa Valley. The Eden Valley will be sold as Barossa, which is the overall region of both the Barossa Valley and Eden Valley. And that first wine was an Eden Valley wine, even though it was labelled Barossa, which is in that area. Eden Valley, and what we're trying to do with this is make a more elegant style of Shiraz. It doesn't mean it's soft and wussy. It's not a soft wussy wine. You taste it, it's a bloody monster. But they are wines that are driven by fruit and not driven by sort of winemaking tricks like oak and all those sorts of things. It's about the expression of the vineyard. It's about longevity and having some style to the wine. People talk about air, and the cork allows some air into the wine to mature. That's the biggest load of bunkum out.
Bunkum, that's a nice word.
Yeah, that's an old Aussie word. It really is about a chemical reaction of small molecules getting bigger, and that softens the wine off. So that's still going to happen no matter what. One of the problems with what we know of cork is most people that have appreciated older wines have really appreciated wines that are very tired and stuffed. Every wine show I judge, we have a big dinner, judges' dinner. People bring wines from the 50s and 60s, and we all sit around and say, geez, these aren't as good as they should be. The reality is they're not. Most people don't like old tired wines, and cork produces old tired wines because it does allow a little bit of air in, and it prematurely ages the wine. Under screw cap, it'll retain fruit character, but you'll still get that polymerisation of the small molecules to the big molecules. So you'll get the softening effects, you'll get the aging effects, but it will still retain fruit character. So I'd say that wine in 20 years' time will still have some fruit character there. It won't be flat and dead. And I'd say probably in 50 years' time it will still have an element of fruit drive in there. It's probably one of the unsung heroes in our industry. Australia makes Riesling. You read a lot about German Rieslings being the best in the world. As a classical wine style being dry and fruity, Australian Riesling is as good as you can get. My personal view is that it's a better buy than Chardonnay. You can buy some great Chardonnays, but you have to pay a lot of dollars. For $15 you can buy a wine of this quality that wins golds and trophies all around the country. For $15 in Chardonnay you're certainly not going to get that quality of wine.